Welcome back. So, I've already sort of walked us through the Moodle course at this point, but I did want to come back and talk a little bit about WebAssign, the platform you're going to be using to submit your homework responses and to access our course textbook if when you choose to do so. So let's go ahead. You can click on this link. As a heads up, it's going to look a little bit different when you do it. I kind of have to do some finagling because I'm a course instructor, but so anyway, so you should be able to access through this. So if you've worked with WebAssign previously, some instructors may have had you they give you a code you need to enter on the main WebAssign website. You won't need to do that for Math 107 with me. You can just access WebAssign directly through Moodle. So as long as you got access to Moodle, you've also got access to WebAssign. All right, so let's go ahead and click the link and see what happens. I mean, I know what's going to happen, but this way, we can go through it together. So again, this is what it looks like for me as a professor. So yeah, you've got you won't have quite so many courses or whatnot in here. So let's click on this guy that says Open Student View so we can see what it looks like for you as a student. All right, and you'll have as you say, I'm not 100% sure if you actually have the select course screen or not. If you've got multiple classes that are using WebAssign, I'm not certain. You'll see I've got a lot in here. We'll just click on this one for my online section. Same thing would apply if you're in my physical section. It's going to look really similar. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll hit the go button here and see what's going on. All right, so you've got a list in here of here's your assignments. You've got their due dates posted right here. Generally speaking, I'll probably make things due towards the end of the day, so you've got the day to work on stuff. I try to give you a decent window from when we finish covering a section to complete it, but the compressed time frame we're working under is gonna kind of play around with that a bit. So other things before we go in there, I did want to mention if you need to get to our textbook, it's down here. It'll pop up, and I believe our publisher calls this Mindtap. But yeah, so if you click on this, boing, it'll pop open. Thing. Hopefully, this won't take too long to pull up. Yep, Mindtap pulls up a digital copy of the textbook. For the purposes of this course, we're going to be covering content from these first four chapters. We're actually going to be starting in chapter 2. Bear with me, I know that can feel a little bit weird, but so don't panic that we're trying to get this entire textbook into the 7 weeks of class we have. But you can click on a particular chapter and it'll think a bit, and then you've got sort of subheadings broken up. We're going to be starting in section 1, like you do. So that's that. So want to point out what the textbook is. If you want some additional practice, this isn't enforced or anything like that, but you may find it worthwhile if you feel like you want some extra practice beyond what we're doing. Before the graded stuff in the homework sets, you may want to play around with stuff in these personal study plans. It sort of walks you through things, it gives you some quizzes, totally off the record, doesn't impact your grade. I don't even know how I would go see how you did on these things. But that could be a worthwhile resource for you that comes for free with your WebAssign access. So no reason not to use it if you think it might come in handy. At the moment, you'll see we've got a couple of assignments in here. I want to take a look at some of the problems, point out some things that are going on inside them. So let's take a look. All right. So for what it's worth, WebAssign does randomize questions on some level, so you might not, be 100%. Like I said, my problem one might not look like your problem one, or your roommate's problem one. Whatever. It's okay. All right. So it's got I was going to say some information, mechanical type stuff at the top. Uh, and got some individual problems here. Let's take a look at this first one. So don't panic if this notation and stuff doesn't mean anything to you for now. That's that's okay. All right. So we've got here this thing, and I just want to sort of walk us through how you might try playing around with what's going on here. So innovate. I don't know. I'm just 100 because I want to get 100 in the class. So yeah, sure. Yes, they're all, we're just going to say they're all true, and we'll see, what happens here. Spoilers, don't do things this way, but, anyway, so we submit our answer. For what it's worth, you don't need to submit the entire assignment. You can actually, for the purposes of Math 107, submit like each individual blank if you like. You don't have to have answered everything all at once. WebAssign is taking a long time to think about my answers. That worries me. But let's see what it says. All right, so my internet had some issues as I submitted things, but I managed to get things pulled back to where we were. And you'll notice we have some things that were marked correct. They have a little green check mark. We get credit for those. You'll see there's a red X on things that were incorrect. Surprisingly, whatever N of A is, it's not 100. Using your desired grade in a course to fill in a blank, probably a bad call in general. But anyway, so. Now, for what it's worth, in most of the homework that you're going to be doing in Math 107, there's a couple of assignments that are going to play by different rules, but I'll give you a heads up when they're coming. You're going to have 3 chances to complete each individual problem. So you may, at this point, want to, see if you can dig in and, play around with, what's actually going on instead of just filling in blanks at random. So if you click on this, you may notice some little buttons down here at the bottom. This orange guy that says read it, you click on read it and it'll take you to the appropriate section in the textbook. So, reading. For a lot of our problems, there's also some videos that have been created. These weren't done by me, but people associated with our textbook publisher, where people will work through similar problems. So you might find those useful. Additionally, you might have noticed after I hit submit answer, this button wasn't there previously. There's things that says practice another version. Clicking that guy will sort of re-randomize some stuff that's in the problem, so you'll be able to play around with it a bit. So off the record, so to speak, it won't burn up submissions for you to try to practice with what you're doing. So those are some options. So let me go ahead. I'm just gonna so because if it's not true, I guess it's false. We'll talk more about what these weird symbols and stuff mean, but just wanting to sort of show you the ropes of the software. So now I submit my answers a second time. You don't need to go re-entering things if you got a check mark. So do that. Hey, look, now we've got full credit. Yay, us. All right, a couple other things I wanted to point out before we draw this video to a close. You can't quite make it out in the view window here, but up in this top right corner of each problem, there's a little guy that says, ask your teacher. So if you want to draw my attention to a particular problem, you don't have to send me an email or anything that says, like trying to point out which problem you've got questions with. You can just hit ask your teacher, and it'll, pop up a thing. So you can type in, a brief message of sort of pointing out, if you've already done some work, you can sort of, tell me what's going on there, suggest, as you're saying, and we can carry on a conversation through WebAssign. So, yeah, so then that'll get sent on, and if I, when I log into WebAssign, I'll get an email notification that you've asked a question, and it'll pop up, and then we can get the ball rolling on seeing what we can do to sort stuff out. All right, so hopefully you've kind of got I've shown you the ropes, so to speak. A couple more administrative things I want to mention. WebAssign does use Adobe Flash Player, so you may need to play around with stuff in order to get a current version of Flash onto your computer. So that's one thing you may want to take a look at. I know at some points in the past, WebAssign's actually had like a link that it'll take you to a place where you can download Flash. Be careful, because I've had some reports that students will try that it'll be something that you have to try to pay for. You don't need to pay for it. Just look up get Adobe Flash, like in a Google search, and you should be able to get that set up. The last thing I want to mention is that access card that you would have received as part of your textbook package. You don't need it right away. Your student view may look a little bit different here, and it'll have somewhere in this a flag that says you have a trial period. So for the first 2 weeks of this block of classes, you don't need the card at all. So in case you're on the fence about whether or not you're going to stay in the course, you don't actually need to burn the access card. You can return it to the bookstore if you end up deciding not to stay in the class. So that's something. As you said, there'll be a link in here to follow things up. And I should mention, because it eluded me before now, when you first click on that link, it'll actually ask you to set up a Cengage account. It will end up being tied into your Moodle account. So if you already have a Cengage account, there's an option that will say, use an existing account. You can create a new one. It's fine. Like I said, it'll get linked through Moodle. So once you've connected things up once, you shouldn't need to worry about it again. So I think that's pretty much everything we need here. So, don't hesitate to reach out and let me know if you've got any questions. Like I said, if you get started on the homework, there's as you say, you've seen the Ask the Gear Teacher button. So, just looking forward to hearing from you.